Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Natira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Girari Radha Girari Radhe Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishpad Paramahamsa Pravajikacharya Ashotara Tata Shishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Patale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Let's get rid of this stuff so I can see my references. Krishna Chaitanya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're getting to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, text number 60. Na Tom Vidarbha Duhita Nayam Vira Surit Tava Na Patis Tvam Paranjanya Rudho Navamuke Yaya Natvam Vidarbha Duhita Nayam Vira Suritava Napatis Tvam Paranjanya Rudho Navamuke Yaya Natvam Vidarbha Duhita Nayam Vira Suritava Napatis Tvam Paranjanya Rudho Navamuke Yaya Natvam Vidarbha Duhita Nayam Vira Suritava Napatis Tvam Paranjanya Navamuke Yaya Natvam Vidarbha Duhita Nayam Vira Suritava Napatis Tvam Paranjanya Rudho Navamuke Yaya Natvam Vidarbha Duhita Nayam Vira Suritava Napatis Tvam Paranjanya Rudho Navamuke Yaya Natvam Vidarbha Duhita Nayam Vira Suritava Napatis Tvam Paranjanya Rudho Navamuke Yaya Na, not, Tvam, you, Vidarbha Duhita, daughter of Vidarbha. Na, not, Ayam, this, Vira, hero, Surit, well-wishing husband. Tava, your, Na, not, Pati, husband. Tvam, you, Paranjaya, a Paranjani, Rudha, captured, Navamuke, in the body, having 9 gates, Yaya, by the material energy. So this is the Brahmana, who is the super soul speaking to Vidarbhi, and I'm going to read the previous verse first. My dear friend, when you enter such a body, along with the woman of material desires, you become overly absorbed in sense enjoyment. Because of this, you've forgotten your spiritual life. Due to your material conceptions, you're placed in various miserable conditions. Today's verse. Actually, you're not the daughter of Vidarbha, nor is this man, Malayadwaja, your well-wishing husband. Nor were you the actual husband of Paranjani. You were simply captivated in this body of 9 gates. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the material world, many living entities come in contact with one another, and increasing their attachment to a particular type of body, become related as father, husband, mother, wife, etc. Actually, every living entity is a separate individual being, and it's because of his contact with matter that he comes together with other bodies and becomes falsely related. False bodies create various associations in the name of family, community, society, and nationality. Actually, every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the living entities are overly engrossed in the material body. the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, appears and gives instructions in the form of Bhagavad Gita and Vedic literatures. The Supreme Lord gives these instructions because He's the eternal friend of the living entities. His instructions are important because by them, the living entity can obtain liberation from bodily engagement. As water passes down a river, many straws and grasses are carried from the shore. These straws and grasses come together in the river's current, but when the waves toss this way and that, they're separated and carried somewhere else. Similarly, the innumerable living entities within this material world are being carried by the waves of material nature. Sometimes the waves bring them together, and they form friendships and relate to one another on a bodily basis of family, community, or nationality. Eventually, they're thrown out of association by the waves of material nature. This process has been going on since the creation of material nature. In this regard, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, Meche Mayar Vashe Yacha Beshe Kachaha Budubai Jeev Krishna Das E Vishwas Karitara Dukadai Haribo Bolare Jeev Krishna Das Haribo Bolare Jeev Krishna Das Radha Krishna Bola Bo Bolare Sabai Radha Krishna Bola Bo Bolare Sabai. For those of you who don't know this song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's short, super sweet, and Srila Prabhupada quotes two different halves of verses from the song, and he's going to give the translation of those, and then we'll read the other verses. So, Meche to Dukunai, it means, my dear living entities, you're being carried away by the waves of material nature. Sometimes you're on the surface. Sometimes you're being drowned. In this way, your eternal life is being spoiled. If you simply catch hold of Krishna and take shelter of His lotus feet, you'll once again get free from all the miserable material conditions. End quote. In this verse, the words Sarit, well-wisher, and Tava, your, are very significant. One's so-called husband, relative, son, father, or whatever cannot actually be a well-wisher. The only actual well-wisher is Krishna Himself. As Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Suradam Sarvabhutanam. Society, friendship, love, and well-wishers are all simply results of being packed in different bodies. One should know this well. One should know this well and try to get out of this bodily encagement into which one is thrown birth after birth. One should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and return home back to Godhead. Please. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shiyata Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shiva Shakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakopa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'd like to talk about lust, affection, and love. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his last days said, I would have liked so much to have talked so much more on the love of Radha and Krishna. But I couldn't. I had to spend so much time in clearing away the misconceptions and the ignorance that keeps the conditioned souls from appreciating, what to speak of desiring, approaching, serving love for Krishna. Krishna and Radha, developing love for them. So those who are these days, it's not uncommon, people who are religious or people who are spiritually minded, they will say God is love. And that's a fact. God is love. But He's also the object of love. He's the possessor of love. He is the source of all love. So it's impersonal to simply think that Krishna is love. It is His innate nature as it is ours. Everything that exists is actually because of the love of Krishna and His desire to relish and taste that love. Everything that be, all of us, have been created simply so that He can relish our loving relationship of service with Him. And so He can enjoy pleasing us, serving us. The reciprocation of love. So, Janmadya Yasya Yata, love and everything else comes from Krishna. But here we find ourselves in the material world, and love is so often discussed and certainly desired. How can it not be? It's who we are. In our very essence of consciousness of being, we have love for Krishna. But because we've come in contact with the material nature, then that pure, pristine, nectarian love has been curdled, has become spoiled, contaminated, the cause of suffering. All my love's in vain. We want so badly to love and be loved. It's natural. And so people are looking for it in their parents, in their siblings, in their friends, and then it gets right up to the pinnacle of conjugal reciprocation. But all this is just a perverted reflection of reality, of what goes on in the spiritual world. That which is the highest in its pristine purity, Krishna's loving transcendental reciprocation with Radha, with the gopis, with all the Vrajvasis. Here in this world, this attempt to embrace and to be served by, to enjoy the opposite sex. My wife, my girlfriend, my lady, etc. That's the cause of the greatest suffering. It is the deepest cause of bondage in this material world. It's the subtle chains that are on everyone's wrists and ankles. Once those chains get wrapped around in the heart, impossible to break. Attachment becomes so thick from that relationship of man and woman. Then it expands into everything. So identification with matter, then I, that illusion of I am the body, I am the mind, it expands into mine. Everything you can get your hands onto and clutch tightly. Now, in the absolute sense, it's all bad. It is the source of suffering. The concept, the ability to experience some temporary cessation of pain is our worst enemy. Because we get fooled by Maya that there's happiness in this world, or I can be happy through these 9 gates, engagement of the senses with the world and others. We can't. Pain and pleasure are the flip side of the same dualities. One is simply a precursor to the other. In this middle planetary system, and here where what we experience, it's not always painful, it's not always happy. Although we're trying to become free of pain all the time and always trying to be happy. It doesn't work. Never has, never will in this world. I have a godbrother. I think he's passed on by now. Lagudi was his name. Did you know Lagudi?
Yeah,
he was a great devotee, really. I mean, he was absorbed. Bit of an avadut, but very excellent. May you live a long, healthy life, Lagudi Prabhu. Not trying to shoosh you through the gates prematurely. But I heard him say one time that he didn't experience or have any idea what happiness was until he was 7 years old. Can you imagine that? For 7 years, simply suffering from morning to night and no relief. He was born in World War II in Europe, where the bombs devastated the cities and there was no food, and it was hell on earth. But when the Allies came in, he got a bar of chocolate. He got an idea what happiness was. He forgot the misery for a moment. It is such a source of pain, our misplaced love for other bodies, family, society, friendship, and love. I'm going to make mention of my friend and neighbor in Mayapur, Nandadullah. As far as I know, he's still in that body. And his wife, Savitri. He had 3 operations because of cancer in the brain. He's in his 80s. You can just imagine how much that takes out of the body, that invasion. I mean, what a shock to the concept of that which I think I am. Now, he's a wonderful devotee, a disciple of Bhakti True Swami. Respected, appreciated by everyone who knows him. But I've talked to his wife, and the pain that she is experiencing because of her affection for him. I mean, the cultured people born and raised in civilized India, the old ways. I mean, I actually could see if she was given the opportunity to jump into a fire with her husband. I could see that. That's how tight they are. Simply praying for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Please, please, pray for my husband. Pray for me. Please let us have some appreciation of the love Krishna has for us. Please let me reawaken my love for Krishna. In that regard, if we could just chant one mantra for them. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As Krishna would arrange, last night I had a serious conversation with Aja, and he was revealing his heart. And he was thinking, what happens when mother leaves? What would be your plans? Would you move to Mayapur and stay there? The thought of losing his mother and his father. Very painful. And that's the world we live in. Even if you have the best of relationships, like Savitri and Nandadullah, they're temporary, they're broken, they're yanked away, and nobody wants to experience that. For the eternal living entity, you and I, it is such a source of pain. You just can't escape it. The evils of birth, death, disease, and old age are a reality that all of us should be serious about. They're impetuses, motivation for us to get out of here. It's Krishna's love. Any misery that we experience through the body and mind is simply trying to get us out of the slow lane into the fast lane of going back home, back to Godhead, where there will be no misery. So we try to understand this illusion. I mean, right now, practically speaking, everybody in America, no matter on what side your affiliation might be in political parties, they're suffering like crazy. Never seen it so intense. Because whoever you put your faith in, it will be smashed. Maya will simply kick you in the face. We have to wake up to this. The only one who will not let us down is Krishna. Those are the words, exact quote of Srila Prabhupada. And of course, the disciple said, but you won't let us down. And in his humility, driving home the point, he said, no, only Krishna will never let you down. And it's interesting, because there's so many layers, as I said last Friday, to all the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. The pain of separation from your spiritual master's vapu is the most intense pain that you will probably experience. At least certainly in the stage of sadhana bhakti. But Krishna, if he is your master, if he is your friend, if he allows you to be his parent, meaning he's your son, or if he's your lover, you never lose that relationship. It's never broken. He will never let us down. And we discussed, how is it possible? You know, I would just be one tiny, insignificant person in Vrindavan with unlimited living entities. How would I be noticed? Actually, that is the seed of Krishna consciousness, realizing our insignificance. Who am I? What do I have to offer to Krishna? We should never be puffed up in relating with the deities or with Krishna or his devotees. We're fallen, and again, an exact quote of Prabhupada, I'm rotten, but I brought this to you. Please accept it. In that mood, Krishna accepts. That's bhakti. So he asked, how would I be noticed? I said, Krishna is so wonderful. Everybody gets one-on-one personal time with Krishna. And I'd like to say every day, but I can't really say that. But everybody is completely satisfied in the reciprocation that they receive from Krishna. Whether you're the cloud or the hill or the grass or the trees, what to speak of the Vrajvasis. Brajajana Ranjana. Krishna delights all those who are in Vrindavan. And I said, just like when the Krishna and his friends, they eat lunch every day out in the forest, in the pasturing grounds, taking care of the cows. During lunch, Krishna will manifest himself where everybody thinks he's talking to me. He just accepted the kachori I put in his mouth, or that I offered him. Unlimited. Just put a number, 1 billion on it to give us some idea. 1 billion people, and they're all satisfied thinking Krishna's paying special attention to me. He's so kind. Only Krishna can do that. Krishna is the ever well-wisher. In this world, he manifests as the super soul, trying to awaken us. Jeev Jago. Wake up, sleeping souls. Or as this song sings, you're drowning in the waves of Maya. Everyone, chant, chant, chant Radha Krishna. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are dancing all over the land of Nadia, giving this teaching to all. O brother, needlessly under the control of Maya, you suffer and are carried away by her waves, sometimes floating and sometimes sinking in the ocean of illusion. If you have this faith that the soul is the eternal servant of Krishna, then there will be no more misery. If you have faith, if you believe, if you focus on and pray for the mercy so that it's ever increasing, you come to the point where there is no more misery. Even in this body, even in this life. And when you chant the holy name of Krishna, your body will shiver in ecstasy and your eyes will shed tears in love of God. This is what I say. Chant Radha Krishna in the association of devotees. This is the only request I beg. Thakur Bhakti Vinod says, when I chant the holy name of the Lord, all dangers go away. Society, friendship, and love will only disappoint us. Now let's talk about affection. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya are you don't change your position, you just begin to hear the pure glorification of the Lord from pure devotee, pure devotees. Change that lust, that exploitiveness of my friendship, of my, wife or husband, of my children. You change that into affection based upon the foundation of Krishna. We're not the body, we're the eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Not only does that apply to me, it applies to everybody. Actually, this is what we receive from the spiritual master. I appreciate how Dravida Prabhu is increasingly saying these days, the spiritual masters. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge into you because they've seen the truth. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you'll never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. Bhakti Vinod also says elsewhere, whatever I possess, my body, house, servants, brothers, friends, wife, children, and household paraphernalia all belong to you now. I'm your servant. I simply live in your house. You're the owner of my household, and I'm just your servant. From now on, all my endeavors will be directed toward giving you happiness. All my friends, my wife, my sons and daughters are your servants and maidservants. According to this understanding, I maintain my relationship with them. Let that sink in. All my friends, my wife, my sons and daughters are your servants and maidservants. According to this understanding, I maintain my relationship with them. It's all based upon our love for the Lord, that we should exhibit our love for the relations and friends that we have in this world. They're part and parcel servant of Krishna, as am I. That's knowledge in the mode of goodness. Not to look at the bodies, this Pandita Sarvadarshan. No. Pure devotees, they see, but they don't identify. You have a black body, you have an old body, you have a young body. They don't look like that. They see the soul. That's knowledge in the mode of goodness. What to speak of Krishna consciousness? In the beginning, we place our love, our trust in the spiritual master. That's the beginning, the Kanishta stage. But Srila Prabhupada said, we're meant to grow beyond the Kanishta stage. We should realize that the God brothers and sisters of my Guru Maharaj is just as respectable as my Guru. We develop friendship with our God brothers and sisters, and we should realize that all of them and all the disciples of my uncle and aunt and my uncles, they're also just as worshipable. We don't simply remain focused on Guru, but we expand as we advance. We expand our appreciation for those who are dear to Guru. I mean, Maharaj made one statement talking to Ranjan Swami. Forgive me if I kind of paraphrase it, but he said, Maharaj Badrinarayan said that, wow, when you enter into the relationship with the spiritual master, it's a lifelong commitment. And Ranjan Swami had a higher realization. He said it. No, it's life after life. This is the representative of Krishna. Super Soul does not give up. Guru does not give up. I discussed that last time. But our relationships are meant to be on that platform. Yeah, let's read Queen Kunti. She prayed, O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So as a neophyte, these Prabhus are the source of my headaches. Okay, it might be my karma, but they're the instruments of my karma. You're disturbing me. You're not supporting me sufficiently. You're in my way of fulfilling my desires, etc. But Srila Prabhupada says, perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is directed towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. To cut off the tie of all other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements like affection for someone else. This is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others, because this is a symptom of life. All these simply had to be purified in devotional service to Krishna. To please Krishna, I will extend myself to help others, because Krishna loves them, because I have an eternal relationship with this family. Prabhupada said ISKCON will be in the spiritual world. We won't look the same, we won't have the same reciprocations, but we will be together if we take advantage of the offer from Srila Prabhupada. Her affection for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis is not out of the range of devotional service, because service of the Lord and service of the devotees are identical. Sometimes service to the devotee is more valuable than service to the Lord. Now the flip side of that is, one time a disciple of Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Prabhupada, I love you. And he went, no, not that kind of love. Not body to body. Spiritual love. Just like he gave the personal instruction to Bhakti True Swami before he left this world, obviously. But no, not so, like not. But anyway, he personally told him when Bhakti True Swami was crying when he wouldn't eat anything, why do you cook for me? I can't eat. Why do you waste time? He said, well, I cook every day hoping that you will eat so that you'll get better. And he began to cry. And Prabhupada said, haven't I taught you better than that? This is all you've understood? In other words, death is inevitable. And for a devotee, it's insignificant. You leave the body before it even dies. You don't even experience it. You're gone. Then the body does its thing. Falls down. It's dead already. We're just animating it. And because of our absorption in it, we think it's us. We think we're doing everything. We listen to the voice thinking it is us. It's not. We're Krishna's eternal servant. And the sadhana stage of bhakti is that we follow the instructions of Guru and we try to internalize them. We try to understand them. Talking with Aja last night, I said a devotee has no fears. Krishna protects us. He loves us. He was asking what's going to happen. Will I leave him? Will I live in Mayapur all the time? I said, Aja. Or he asked, what if I move out? How will you and Mom afford the apartment? I said, don't worry about that. Krishna provides. It's one of the 6 elements of surrender to Krishna. He provides. He protects. A devotee has no worries. And it struck him like a thunderbolt. He thought, wow, that would be so nice. You wouldn't have to worry about anything? I said, that's it, Aja. Just surrender. There is no worry. Krishna's got our back. He loves us. Everything that happens to us is His loving reciprocation to get us in the fast track to surrendering and going back home, back to Godhead. This society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, has been established to facilitate the 6 kinds of loving exchanges between the devotees. Dadati pritiganati guyam akyati prichite bhunkte bhujite chaiva shadvidyam pritilakshanam. Prabhupada said this is the essence of love, whether it's manifested in Maya or in Krishna consciousness. To give and receive, to intimately share, or to hear confidential topics relevant to our life in Krishna consciousness. The foundation of Krishna conscious reciprocations is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Mad chitta matagada prana bodhiyanta parasparam katiyantas jamam nityam tushanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, always enlightening one another and conversing about me. That's the foundation. Krishna, 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 hey. And we manifest that love, that absorption in the reciprocations with each other. The life of the Krishna Conscious Society is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchanges among the members. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating the 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can revive fully his dormant Krishna consciousness. The devotee who is neither a neophyte nor a Mahabhagavat, a greatly advanced devotee, but is within the middle status of devotional service, is expected to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, make friends with the devotees, show favor to the ignorant, and reject the jealous and demoniac. In Krishna consciousness, I see sometimes that it's easy. It's not easy, but those who are surrendered, they're always extending the life jacket, the life preserver to others. You're sharing Krishna consciousness, giving these books, chanting the names in public, distributing prasadam. This is an opportunity for them to become a part of the family of Krishna sooner or later. But sometimes it took the longest time for our devotees to realize, hey, while giving a book, I ought to have a contact number in here. There should be follow-through, follow-up. Not just Johnny Appleseed throwing all the seeds. That's wonderful. It's most important. But the follow-up, what to speak of. If someone new comes in the door, we put on our best face and we genuinely try to make them feel at home. Enjoy this prasadam. Let's talk about your life. Let me offer you some insight in who Krishna is and how wonderful service is to Krishna. But then fast forward when they move into the temple and they've been around for a few months or a year or what have you, that same enthusiasm is not offered often. Yeah, we take it for granted. I live with this guy. I know this guy. We know his faults, and the faults disturb us. To the degree we're humble, We appreciate the good qualities within each other. Tapas Prabhu yesterday asked me, how do I develop some humility? I said, well, a good way to start is engage in the positive activity of appreciating the devotees, glorifying the devotees, good qualities, and serving the devotees. If we start acting in that way, body, mind, and speech, in relationship to the devotees, then we think less of ourselves. The arrogance and the pride is being starved. And when we become totally absorbed, chanting the glories of devotees as if we had 5 mouths, then there's no question of the retarded false ego of thinking I'm special. It's so important. Lust, affection, and love. That's the goal. And if we don't practice our desire to love Krishna with his devotees and our spiritual masters now, at this stage, you minimize so greatly the opportunity or the hope of going back home, back to God at the end of this life. Because if you're not doing this, it's a symptom of Kanishta, it's immature, and it takes many lifetimes to, like Bhagavad Gita says, what is it? Yesham twatakatam papam. You have much to overcome before you can come to the point of surrendering to Krishna. But this is perfection, right here. And our situation may change, but once you have relationship with devotees, it should be lifelong. Let's put it in that term for our bodily conditioning. It should be at least lifelong. Prabhupada, when talking to one of the older disciples, of course he had a personal relationship, name by name, etc. with them. And they were talking about the old days, and they asked him, wasn't it wonderful times? And Prabhupada said, yes, we were a family. That's what we should aspire to practice. Don't just be enthusiastic in preaching or in greeting new people, but let us try to put ourselves out for others to the best of our ability. If they don't reciprocate, we've done our deed. Krishna sees our sincerity of purpose. Because you can't force anyone to grab hold onto that life jacket or that life preserver. People may not appreciate each other in the ashram or in our society. It's sad, because all of you are great souls that Krishna loves. So are there any questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Hey, Madhusudana. I'd know that voice anywhere. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Zoom
Very
ki
nice
jai.
class. Excellent class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
I remember very early when in the movement, and Prabhupada was emphasizing that we should call each other Prabhu. And looking back, I could see, and at a certain point I realized that I could call somebody Prabhu, but in my heart I felt like I don't want to be his servant. I'm Prabhu. Someone should be my servant. So there's a period of purification in the heart where you actually feel like you're the servant, and that came about because I started to realize how really fallen I was.
Hare Krishna.
So if you don't take a look at yourself, that how I'm really fallen, then how can you think that someone else is your Prabhu? So then it's a matter of purification of the heart. Should just continue on till we really take stock of what's in our heart and that we're really feeling rotten and fallen, like Bhakti Vinod Thakur always said about himself, which of course is just for our example. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Time is short. It's a gradual process. But if our desire is focused in the proper way, pure devotion can be performed or experienced at any level of bhakti. We simply have to want to please Guru, Krishna, and Vaishnavas. So the gradual process for you, for me, for some of us, inevitably it seems we could be getting closer and closer to the finish line. In actuality, some of my younger Prabhus might be closer than I. We don't know when we're leaving this body. Could be today, could be tomorrow, or next week. Who knows? I mean, I haven't seen Maharaj. How long has it been? 2 weeks. I hope so. Can we give him one mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I can't help but have that kind of thought when I don't see a devotee for 2 weeks that, gosh, is he entering the end zone? We just don't know. So take advantage. Prabhupada said, please take advantage. Take it seriously. Associate with the Prabhus. The humble are who we catch humility from. Those who are servants, if we follow their example, we can turn into a servant. It's the secret. Association, so much of it. Anything else? Tapas?
We have 17 people watching the class online. And it's very nice class. Thank you for that.
Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time given to the Bhagavatam. We all ask for each other's blessings, prayers, that sooner than later we can be with each other, serving in proximity of each other. So, Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki.